Okay, let's get this show started. Hi, welcome back to Zenways Live, where we do a live stream about this week's news columns that's coming out of Japan about sustainability. And yeah, this is a new place. I'm pretty glad the Wi-Fi is stable. Okay, oops. Okay, got my mobile on. Okay, right. Let's get this started. Well, today's stream is very easy. Well, we started early today because today is in Japan. It's a global climate strike. We call it action here instead of strike. It's going to be a long day, so there'll be a number of workshops, a number of talks, and that's why I'm doing this stream early so that I can participate in those later. I'd like to do some write-up about some of them too. I think we have very interesting content from, for example, from Okinawa, from Hokkaido, and from, of course, the main cell, Fridays for Future Japan. And yeah, we have 4 news today, as you can see from on our right side. That's the list of news we'll be going through today. And then after that, we'll do a quick look at the list of activities that's going to be available from Fridays for Future, and see what kind of activities are going on. Now, many may think that Fridays for Future in Japan isn't that hade, too fancy. Not a lot of people participate in the online in the strikes when we compare it to our European counterparts. But that is a misconception really, because people are interested and there are people taking action, and we'll see how what kind of actions the groups are taking with the list later. Anyway, let's jump into our first news for today. Let me switch this over to see this. Yeah, okay. So, yeah. Well, thank goodness we are not totally tackling on climate change today. We had some variety today. So, our first article is going to be about gender equality. Now, it's interesting to talk about gender from a male side point, but it makes sense in Japan because this article is about fathers being involved in childcare, and it is one of the missing gaps in Japan when we talk about gender equality, and that is men. The males are not doing enough of what they should as fathers, as a member of the family, and that is partly because of gender stereotypes. And this column is going to explore that. So, Japanese society's support is crucial for fathers to embrace childcare. In Japan, women still bear most of the burden of childcare, which hinders the realization of gender equality. In the first place, both men and women can take childcare leave in Japan legally. You can take a rest for childcare until the day before your child turns 1 year old. Okay, got this. And you can extend it up to 2 years old if there is a valid reason, such as not being able to find a nursery center for your child. This makes sense because in Japan, nurseries are actually kind of limited. Sometimes parents cannot get a spot for their children in the nurseries, and they have spent time going through the application, trying to find time to actually find a nursery that has a vacancy or an open spot. It is one of the issues, and it is something that the government really needs to work on, and it is, but it is a difficult and complex problem. We'll continue with the article. However, according to the basic survey on equal employment by the Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare, the percentage of women taking childcare leave is about 80%, while the percentage of men taking childcare leave is still 12.65%, even though it is on the rise. That is due to an atmosphere in the workplace that makes it difficult to take advantage of childcare leave system, as well as a lack of understanding by the company and superiors regarding the need for employees to take childcare leave. According to the survey by the Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare in October 2020, 26.2% of men who attempted to use childcare-related systems at their place of work in the past 5 years said they had experienced paternity harassment or harassment for reasons such as childcare leave. So this also touches the workplace in Japan. There is a very strong stereotype on what men should do, what women should do. What this article didn't touch is for the females. If they take childcare leave, usually they are hindered. Their career growth is hindered because they take time off, and that is the common assumption that since women are taking childcare leave, they are not gonna be able to commit, and therefore do not have, for example, a career advancement as fast as their male counterparts, which is bad. And as you can see from this paragraph, that men also suffer from that gender stereotype, because really 12.65% only taking childcare leave is ridiculous. Seriously, if they are equal members as a family in child raising, this is unacceptable. And so, creating an environment where men can take childcare leave is essential in promoting gender equality. Companies will have to confirm workers' intention to take childcare leave. In response to this situation, the Childcare and Family Care Leave Law was revised in June 2021. It has added content to improve the employment environment to encourage male employees to take childcare leave, regardless of whether they are small, medium, or large enterprises. For instance, from April 2022, workers who report pregnancy or childbirth will be required to be informed of the system individually and to confirm their intention to take leave. If a company fails to do so, the company's name will be made public. In addition, companies with more than 1,000 employees will be required to publicize the status of their male employees who have taken childcare leave. So it is expected that the status of male employees who have taken childcare leave will become a part of their social reputation. Other new measures include making it easier for fixed-term employees to take childcare leave, a system that allows fathers to take up to 4 weeks of leave in 2 installments within 8 weeks after the birth of their child. Now, I look at it. There was another editor who did this, and I was thinking, this is such a long sentence, but this is probably the easiest way of saying, which makes English, and we have English learners who find English hard, because of such reasons. And continue. And a system that allows workers to work within the range agreed upon by them during the leave. Now, I'm kind of, I don't know, personally, I'm not too sure if this is going to work as well as we think it is, because eventually we're talking about workplace culture. And, you're just requiring people to take leave, which doesn't tackle the root of the problem. Anyway, continuing. Ikumen Company Award and Boss Company Award. In addition, as part of the project to encourage male employees to take childcare leave, the Ministry of Health, Labour and Welfare implemented the Ikumen Company Award and the Boss Company Award to recognize individuals and companies that balance childcare work. Iku means to raise, as in to raise a child. Kiken Seisakusho, which received the Ikumen Company Award in 2020, has built a benefit simulation tool to improve employees' income concerns when taking maternity leave so that changes in income can be monitored. Sekisui House, which also won that award, has already achieved 100 of its employees taking at least 1 month of maternity leave. They require employees to discuss the timing of their childcare leave with their families at least 3 months before taking it. The company will also be required to submit a written plan for taking 1 month taking leave 1 month in advance to ensure that the leave will be taken. In addition, Sekisui House provides a family meeting sheet to promote communication within the family regarding childcare leave. As a result, communication between the workplace and the family has been revitalized, and its reputation outside the company has improved. Now, Sekisui House is also pro-LGBT. I think they can become a role model because when we took a look, where is this? Yeah, so for example, male employees will be required to announce when they're taking leave, confirm their intention to take leave. So what if we have 2 gay parents? Are they going to be allowed to take leave? And this is something that I think the government might not be ready to talk about it yet, but maybe Sekisui House might be able to take the lead and come up with a system that can become a role model for other companies. Continuing, in 2021, when the Childcare and Family Leave Law was amended, the award was cancelled to intensively disseminate information on what companies and workers should do with the amendment. There is no announcement yet as to whether it will be implemented in 2022. The Thank You Dad Project. In addition, the NPO Fathering Japan has a project called the Thank You Dad Project, which supports fathers taking childcare leave and creates a community for fathers to share their leaves, their worries and joys about childcare with and receive advice from other fathers. From the field of corporate children responsibility, they conduct seminars for companies to deepen their understanding of male parental leave and also make policy recommendations to the government. Awareness that childcare should be done by society as a whole leads to gender equality. Japan's male parental leave system itself is highly regarded worldwide. According to a 2019 UNICEF survey of the period of paid parental leave available to fathers, Japan was ranked first among the 41 countries that are members of either the OECD or the EU. It is hoped that this legal reform will help more people recognize that childcare is not a one-person job, but it is something that society should do as a whole. So as this paragraph summarizes, if we want to progress gender equality, we need males to be involved. We're not just talking about sex education, but we're also talking about getting them involved in various roles, including childcare. And to progress that in Japan, we need both society. We need businesses and communities to understand that fathers have a role to play in this too. I think it is a good article to as a solution, really, to remind people that we need be something beyond than just asking men to be a part of, to go beyond gender roles, and that requires support. Okay, let's go on to our next article, and this is about fashion. Ethical fashion. Japan's ethical handbags protect the planet and traditional craftsmanship. Recently, this article is good. It shows that what a real. Now there's a lot of worry about greenwashing, but this company is one of those role models that we can look at. Recently, many people look for sustainable and ethical fashions. Among the various sustainable fashion options, vegan fashion is becoming on trend globally, and Japan is no exception. Some may think animal-free materials limit the design or quality standards they are familiar with, but this isn't necessarily true. A Japanese ethical fashion brand, Fumikoda, produces animal-free bags with high-end luxury designs. Luxury design with low environmental impact with traditional Japanese craftsmanship. Fumikoda has started to create functional and luxury designer bags for business use. They maintain the quality of each material while minimizing the environmental load. Japanese craftsmanship is key throughout the production process. The bags are manufactured entirely in Japan, and all the materials and parts are produced domestically as well. The brand's main material is vegan leather. This high-quality artificial leather has a similar texture to real animal hide. Craftsmen reproduce the unique texture by applying the same processing as animal leather. Moreover, artificial leather is lighter than real leather, making their bags easier to carry around. The turquoise blue metal fitting, look at this, beautiful color, and there's a story behind it. The turquoise blue metal fitting is a unique characteristic. The traditional techniques, which involve creating a chemical reaction with copper and natural ingredients such as sake and rice vinegar, express the beautiful color. Surprisingly, this technique was traditionally applied to coloring statues of Buddha and temple bells. So we see how Japanese craftsmen crafts techniques are being used in modern times. And it's important because if we look into ancient Japan, if we look into history, craftsmen they focus a lot on environment, which means they understand the relationship with the environment. One, they will not want to destroy nature, and two, they don't want to overconsume the resources. In other words, sustainable. Continuing with the article, parts of their products resembling turtle shell. Sorry, let me do that again. Parts of their products resembling turtle shell are instead made from cotton and pulp. These parts are handmade by skilled craftsmen, so each has unique patterns. On the other hand, conventional plastic turtle shell substitutes cannot express luxurious gloss and clarity as well as Fumikoda's vegan shell. Fumikoda has created sustainable women's fashion items to empower working women as well. The brand also currently produces many genderless items to promote diversity. As you can see here, anyone can carry it. Minimize waste by upcycling, reusing, and recycling. Fumikoda cares not only their products, but also reducing waste in production and consumption. In fact, they strive to minimize the waste with 3 projects: upcycling scraps of vegan leather into other items such as cord bands, bag charms, and koi purses. Collecting unwanted Fumikoda items from users and giving them away to students. The project supports students by donating secondhand items. Approximately half of Japanese college students have student loan debt and need financial support. To help address this, Fumikoda second-hand donations offer high quality and environmentally conscious items for free. Creating t-shirts made from clothes that would otherwise be thrown away. The project aims to achieve a circular economy in cooperation with J-Plan. The new recycling technology that J-Plan developed allows clothing to be recycled any number of times. Since Fumikoda launched in 2016, they continue to innovate better practices for the environment and society. It is necessary that consumers feel comfortable when trying to build a more sustainable living. Ethical brands like Fumikoda support customers to realize a lifestyle that cares for environment, society, and themselves. Now, in Zenbird, we often talk about well-being, and how do we achieve that well-being is when we consume things, and use things. When we use services, you want that service to be good for the people and good for the environment. And of course, businesses need profit. If not, they cannot continue. They cannot be sustainable. And then the third factor will be prosperity for everyone. And this is often what we call the triple bottom line. and it is the new model for businesses to look at, and in fact for any companies to follow, to use. All right, okay, that's good. Let me get some water before we move on to the article. So yeah, composting is something I always wanted to do, but because I'm moving around, it is impossible to maintain and carry around a compost system, And anyway, yeah, and this is why I really like this article, because composting isn't that different from anywhere else, but in Japan it seems there's a little some ingredients, some materials, some resources are actually beneficial. And of course there are cons in starting home compost. We'll get to that. So yeah, let's start with the third article, exploring pros and cons before starting home compost in Japan. The term composting is one that we are hearing more and more about these days. In fact, it is an important element of Japanese wisdom handed down from generation to generation, utilizing the action of microorganisms to ferment and decompose. However, many people still do not use it. In this article, we will introduce the pros and cons. I got to tell the editors, we should stop using this. Continuing, we will introduce the pros and cons of home composting in Japan and recommend a simple but chic composting tool. Okay, home compost pros. Let's sort out the benefits of composting. No more stench from food scraps. When you throw away food scraps, for example, parts of the vegetable you don't use, you're gonna want to throw them away, and yeah, your bin is gonna start smelling. Second point, no need to prepare plastic bags for disposal. It generates fertilizers for vegetables and gardening, reduces waste and carbon dioxide emissions. Now the second point is very unique to Japan. The so-called standard, what most households do is they will use plastic bags, use scraps, throw the scraps into the plastic bag, tie it up, then throw it into the bin. Now it's not single-use plastics, but we are still using plastics, and it is part of the concern. And compost is really good for that. Now, I know other countries have different ways of doing things. For example, you may have you have a bin that you throw food scraps in, so that may be electrical. Then you have an energy issue, a conversation about energy. Okay, continue. Food waste accounts for around 30 to 40% of combustible waste. Composting at home can significantly reduce the amount of household waste by recycling the messy food loss from the kitchen. One of the best ingredients for composting is rice bran. Rice bran is the powder from the seed coat and embryo parts of rice that is released when the surface of brown rice is scraped and polished. It is an essential ingredient in traditional Japanese food, but when added to compost, it is a superfood that accelerates decomposition very quickly. Some of you may be already familiar with this. This gray bag is Lfc Compost, a very famous, home kit for composting. So if you're not sure how to start composting, Lfc is one of the brands that I really recommend that you begin with, because they have a support. If it's not going well, you can even reach out their support line and they'll advise you on what we are doing wrong and how can we proceed. Home compost cons. Conversely, what could be some of the disadvantages of composting? Chopping food waste and laborious daily stirring. It's really not that laborious. I wouldn't use the word laborious, but I think it can be troublesome for some. Second point, limited space for installation. installation. And that's true, because if you're thinking about it, if you have a big family, you can imagine amount of food waste that you may have on a daily basis. And to create a circular system at home for compost, you might need a garden for it. And in Japan, it's an issue. Japan's houses are usually small, unless you're living by a house itself, then maybe you have a back garden. But most people live in high-rise, small apartments that usually balcony is not a balcony. Balcony is more like a place for drying clothes. So yeah, limited space is an issue in Japan. Need to sort out what can and cannot be put in compost. This is also important. There are some ingredients where you cannot put in compost. It doesn't work. It doesn't break down. So it is, I don't know, a mix of chemistry and biology that you need to learn. And this requires you to learn a bit more. It's not that much learning, because it's one of those things that you learn and you remember for the rest of your life, like cycling. If the compost is fermented well, the odor is hardly noticeable. But if foods that are not decomposed by the composter are put in, they will stink. We should note that some foods don't compose well. So what kind of food? For example, fruit seeds, salty foods, dairy products, fat and oil, meat and fish bone. Yeah, okay, they obviously don't. Raw rice, thick vegetable peels. As in Japan, it is also possible to easily incorporate composting into urban life, even if the land and houses are small. Lfc Compost, a portable compost kit created by Japanese composting company, local food cycling can be one solution. And like I said, spaces are small, and that's why these Lfc Compost kits are so good. You can think of them as modular. So you can buy as many as you need, the kind of space you need. But of course, if you are looking, like I say, for a big family, you might need, if you have a garden, probably you don't need a compost kit. Yeah. And yeah, continuing, that's another brand, Okinawa. Another Japanese brand of early earth-friendly household products has also launched a household composting kit, the bamboo fiber food composter, helping urbanites to follow a zero-waste lifestyle. This compost bin is stylish, designed with a warm feel, and fits well in the kitchen as part of the interior decor. In just about 1 month, kitchen waste is transformed into nutrient-rich compost. This is how it looks like. Very stylish. And that's a great thing about sustainability. Just often when we think sustainability, we have to sacrifice something in order to achieve sustainability, but it's not that case. Most of these products are market price. They're stylish, and they are really true alternatives. Probably they don't get enough exposure and not enough public exposure that such alternatives exist. Continuing, thus, even those who do not have a garden at home and are too busy to compost can easily reduce household food waste. The compost made can be used for gardening and can be also sent to schools and farmers, giving back to the community. What would otherwise be considered garbage can be instead be turned into nutrients for the soil, contributing to a sustainable future. So if you think that individual action doesn't work, just imagine this point. I'll read it again. The compost can be used for gardening and also be sent to schools and farmers, giving back to community. Now imagine the whole community or the household in one area compost, and they send it to farmers. Of course, transporting might be an issue, collecting might be an issue. But if you do that, the farmers don't need to buy fertilizers because you are providing them fertilizers. They save costs, and they are selling the food back to the community. So we see this circular flow that actually makes vegetables cheaper for you because they are local, they are healthy. You know why? Because the farmers are using what you provide, and this is not just a circular flow for food or a circular food system, but it also builds a community. It brings you closer to farmers, and local production, local consumption is something that Japan is trying to push to, and it helps push and local production, local consumption pushes, improves, helps fight the climate change. Okay, enough of that. Let's go on to our next article. Now, we really didn't expect the timing of two food waste solutions, food waste related articles to be on this week, but yeah, it is what it is. So we talk about home composting. Now it is an individual action we can use. Now this article is going to be talking about circular economy. What is this? What is circular economy? How circular economy is related to food, and how we can cut household food waste. So using circular economy theory to cut household food waste. The basic concept of a circular economy is to maintain a supply chain that follows the cycle of make, use, reuse, and recycle. This principle has been applied in the use of renewable sources, in the energy industry and in the apparel industry at second-hand clothing stores. These approaches have been somewhat popular in Japan, with people choosing to install solar panels at home, for instance, or buying fewer clothes and purchasing them from second-hand shops. But could we also do something about the food industry from the consumer side? Yes, we can. 1/3 of edible food is wasted globally, but applying the principles of a circular economy can help save it. Now it says wasted food globally, but in Japan, the last time census did a survey in 2018. The next one should be coming up next year. So in 2018, they realized that Japan wastes 658 million tons of food each year, and it's ridiculous because one, there is food waste. There is poverty in Japan. People who do not have enough to eat, but we are wasting so much food. I don't think we'll cover here, but I think there's a problem with how we design the food system. And tackling food waste will, if we redesign that system, we can help alleviate poverty for one, and we can reduce decomposing food that's decomposing in landfills, which produces methane, which is a greenhouse gas that accelerates global warming. Anyway, let's continue. The difference between food loss and food waste. Before we dig further into the idea of reducing food loss and food waste, let's clarify the difference between the two terms. In Japan, we usually use the word food loss. In Japan, food loss actually means food waste and food loss, so it's sometimes confusing if you're using Google Translate to read Japanese websites. Continuing. However, according to the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, food loss and food waste are two different things. Food loss refers to the decrease in quantity or quality of food resulting from decisions and actions by food suppliers in chain, excluding retailers, food service providers, and consumers. So we're talking about, for example, people who create the food. And my favorite example, which we did a video on it, is the banana. So when you think about banana, it is curve shaped yellow. But if you produce any bananas that are edible, taste the same, but do not have that curve shape, they are usually thrown away because consumers don't buy them. They only buy curved bananas, which is a crime. It is criminal if you ask me. Or when they transport it, one case fell out, we cannot sell this, they are thrown away. Those are food lost. They haven't even reached the stores and they are thrown away. Meanwhile, food waste is the decrease in quantity of food, quality of food resulting from decisions and actions by retailers, food service providers, and consumers. Since food waste is more relevant to the consumer's point of view, that is the focus of this article. Food waste in Japan and the world. According to the United Nations Environment Programme, Japan has the 14th largest national estimated household food waste. That seems high at first glance, but understandable when the size of Japan's population is taken into consideration. You can see that the population plays a large role in determining this rank. China is first on the list, India is second, third, Nigeria, fourth, Indonesia, and USA, fifth. These countries rank within the top 7 largest companies by population. Therefore, what we really need is to look at is countries' food waste per capita. An eye-opening fact is that Nigeria has the highest household food waste per capita with 189 kg a year. By contrast, Japan and China each have only 64 kg per capita a year, which is the average household food waste per capita in Eastern Asia. It is the second lowest amount of per capita household waste after Eastern Europe. So it seems that Japan is doing well in terms of food waste management. Does that mean there's nothing much more we can do? I would say no. Let's take a look at Japanese household waste. Kyoto City estimates that in the 2020 fiscal year, its population threw away 48,288 tons of food as cooking scraps and 25,785 tons of edible food as either leftovers or completely untouched food. On a national scale, that equates to each person in Japan wasting the equivalent of one bowl of rice every day. Shocking, isn't it? Imagine a friend of yours every day just throwing away one rice ball that they can still eat. I don't think anyone can watch that without saying mottainai, which means what waste in Japanese. And we have a chart here that says percentage of cooking scraps and leftover and untouched food among kitchen waste from Kyoto households. What a waste. Mottainai. But how did that waste arise? Well, studies show that it is caused by consumer behaviors such as this: disposal of untouched food in accordance with its best by date, forgetting to use food kept in storage, removal of edible parts of food when cooking or processing. Each of which we now know there are practical solutions. We just need to modify a bit of how we consume things. And I think this is where the writer goes into it. What can you do to prevent food waste at home? This kind of waste can be prevented by applying the circular economy theory. The first thing to consider is how to reduce waste. Okay, this is not well explained, but in circular economy, the theory is talking about the easiest way to understand circular economy is how most would describe there are 9 or 10 R's in circular economy, and one of them is reduce. Of course, we have recycle, we have reuse, but there are also repair, return. That means, for example, composting, returning organic materials back into the earth. Then we have refurbish, how to reuse certain materials. And this is where this writer is trying to say the first thing you can consider is how to reduce waste. This is simple to do. You just need to buy you only need to buy the amount of food that you actually will consume. Don't buy more. As a consequence, you will perhaps start buying less food, and this reduction on the consumer side may eventually cause the production side to reduce intensively. Well, sorry, a thought just crossed my mind, but if we get to that, I'll share what I was thinking. We'll continue with the article. The second approach is composting, as we have seen. That's the return part. This may be a bit complicated to apply depending on where you live. Indeed, your local municipality might not offer a composting system, but more and more organizations and facilities are emerging that assist the public to compost food waste. In Omihachiman City, Shiga Prefecture, the non-profit organization Japan Food Recycling Network has been contributing greatly by composting and utilizing food waste since 2006. In Tokyo also, Tokyo has an amazing thing. I think it's called the 1.2 mile Omotesando. Sorry, the exact name escapes me, but even in such an urban setting, this is I would call it a garden, a gathering point where people from 1.2 miles away from them can bring their compost to this garden and share their compost. And that is one composting system that cities can actually use. Continuing, such NPOs bridge a gap between food waste and uses of the resulting organic fertilizers. In northeastern Japan, Tohoku Bio Food Recycle is due to open this spring. This facility will ferment 40,000 tons of household food waste a day. It should be able to generate 6,500 megawatts per hour a year, which is equal to the energy use of 1,500 households. It will be a good tool for establishing a new recycling system for food waste and encouraging locals to recycle it. And hopefully this approach will spread throughout the whole country. Perhaps there is an organization or facility like this near where you live. Now, this is not just about Japan. It can be wherever you are living. Look for local information about food waste disposal, or ask people in your community about it. Each of our actions might be small, but as they say, from small acorns, great oak trees grow. How about starting even a little change today? So this is really more about food waste rather than circular economy. But I think the point we're trying to drive here is you need to think of it as a circular thing. Like we shared in our composting article here. For example, the farmers, you compost what you eat, the uneaten stuff. The compost, you bring it to the farmers. The farmers grow food that you eat. So we see the circular system. So try to create more of these circular things so that we stop taking more resources than we need from nature. And there's zero waste. And for food, that actually really helps reduce our reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And we talk about, you see the top left corner of the screen in the red bar, that's our carbon budget. How much time, how much more carbon can we put in before it is way too late? And that's our carbon budget. Now, and while we're talking about carbon budget, we're also talking about carbon dioxide equivalents. And methane is one of that, and methane is 28 times worse than carbon dioxide. And methane comes from food waste, decomposing food waste. Well, of course, it's not the only source, but there is a scientist that think, we have to if we want to buy more time on our carbon budget, on our carbon clock, then the most effective way is stop producing the methane from getting into the air. Okay, well, okay. I really didn't think that 4 articles will be so fast today. Maybe because I sped up in the back half of the articles. But yeah, I think we shall jump into, looking what, like I said just now, today is in Japan, a very important day. In fact, it's going to be a very important day for the rest of the world. Today is the global climate strike. There has to be something around your community. In Japan, yes, there is action too. And instead of calling it a global climate strike, it's called a global climate action. Now, is there a reason? I can only guess. I wouldn't really want to say why there's a change. Because when we talk about strike in Japan, it often has a violent image. But it's more like a protest. It's a peaceful protest. And I think it's wise that, Fridays for Future Japan decided to go with action. I think the word action also talks about doing something. And I think that's more motivating than just saying strike, which is retaliatory and doesn't really say we're going to change things. But of course, we know that isn't true. Anyway, that's a side talk. So what we want to do now is, every time there's a global strike or nationwide strike, they have a special landing page, and this is one of them. So we can see, there's a number of action they can take. There's a tweet storm coming in up later at 5 p.m. Japan time, and of course we have talks. This I'm gonna see. Let's see. Okay, there's gonna be a talk later at it's not 6 p.m. but 6:30 p.m. for those in Japan who wants to, or around the near timeline, and you're interested in joining. So we'll be inviting MAPA, most affected people, organizers. They are coming in to give a talk, and then we're gonna talk about what various Fridays for Future actors are doing in Japan. They have a workshop afterwards, but I will not be joining this because at 8 p.m. there's another sharing session from the main Fridays for Future Japan cell in Japan. So what else they have talked? 350 is holding it's called zombie. You know what? I think it's very hard for me to translate this. I'm not a translator, so okay. You know what? I think we'll let Google Translate do this. The cold zombie is interesting hashtag which I'm gonna look at later. Yeah. In Japan has this illusion about clean coal. It's one of those techniques or PR campaigns. You say coal can be clean. Yeah, right. And what they have say is what this campaign wants to stop is the coal companies are saying we can upcycle coal, I guess, by creating a 10% reduction in carbon dioxide by gasifying coal-fired power. How is that good? One of the problems in Japan right now is it is 88% dependent on fossil fuels. And how is it going to make that change? Obviously, they are not interested in making a change because what kind of actions are they taking? People with money, oil and gas companies, finance companies are building coal power plants overseas. So they get the money. The developing countries gets pinned with the bill for carbon emissions. And yeah, when we talk about climate crisis, this is one climate justice. one of the climate injustice that Japan is committing, and it's terrible. And that's why there is so much talk among the youth here. Sorry, not the youth, the Fridays for Future cells in Japan, because of all this injustice. In Hokkaido, what do they have? This is the one I'm going to participate in. This is going to be interesting. They're going to be inviting 3 guests from Hokkaido, the north of Japan, Okinawa, the southmost of Japan, and Yamanashi, somewhere in the middle, and see what's the, what are the problems that each area is facing. Now there's and then this will be interesting to see what kind of impact Japan is facing in throughout Japan. In Aomori, which is just below Hokkaido. Let's see, what are they doing? Details. 2 city council members will participate and talk about the climate crisis. I guess it's an online event. Oh no, this open and new. Yeah. So apparently the youths in Aomori often sits down with the are connected to the city council so that they can discuss what needs to be done, which is a good thing. I think last year we had Fridays for Future during the elections, and they held an open seminar inviting politicians from various parties to talk about what they think about the climate crisis. Okay, Sendai, which is 1 hour's train ride from Tokyo, in between Hokkaido and Tokyo. They're doing it offline. It's great to see. I'm in Wakayama right now. Wakayama doesn't seem to have a Fridays for Future sale. So yeah, the closest one is probably Osaka, which is 2 hours away. So today I decided, I'm just going to stick everything to online. Fukushima. This electricity is dangerous. Making coal into history. The translation is so bad. Making coal history, I think is what it's translated. But this is the difficult thing. If we are going to stop fossil fuels, then we need to use nuclear energy. But nuclear energy is dangerous. I had an interview with with volunteers in Hiroshima who understands the history of weaponizing nuclear energy. And it's better not to have nuclear energy. So Japan is stuck in this. Are we going to use fossil fuels, or are we going to be using nuclear energy? Sure, it's doing its best to accelerate renewables, but it spent too much time. Japan is slow in that reaction. When government doesn't take leadership, things get slow, and now Japan is stuck in this decision. In Niigata, Niigata is west of Sendai, of Fukushima also, Nuclear power is not a solution to climate change. With the Kashiwazaki Kariwa nuclear plants. Okay, let's see where this is. Sorry, I heard something. Yeah, Japan has a number of nuclear power plants. and they are planning for them to start. So this is Sendai, what we talk about just now, and this Niigata prefecture, and along the coast of the nuclear power plant. Now my main concern is if you ask me strictly, yes, I think we should be able to use nuclear energy until renewables, the infrastructure for new renewables are in full working condition. There has been a number of problems in Japan in that aspect. Anyway, these nuclear plants, I'm worried about their grades. I think they are old nuclear power plants, which means that there is a danger for security, for safety, and in the background of the nuclear meltdown in Fukushima 11 years ago. Under that shadow, it's very hard to convince a lot of people that we should be using nuclear energy. And yeah, so Greenpeace Japan is going to be talking about how nuclear power is not going to be it's not a solution to climate change. And another one, yeah. So we have two protests against coal-fired power plants and nuclear power plants. And this is in Ibaraki. So Ibaraki is around here. Yep, that's right. And Fukushima is here. The meltdown is around here. Okay. Saitama is just northwest of Tokyo. Garbage picking around Omiya Station. Oh, that's nice. Simple but effective action. If you're thinking, these are really simple actions to do because one, it cleans up the place, obviously. Two, it creates a visual for people to show that that action is being taken. Two, having a clean environment actually impacts the mind positively. And in Japan, Japanese people tend to lean towards, the environment, a love for the environment. So garbage picking or beach cleanups, things like that, is a useful action in Japan. And we have Chiba, which is northeast of Tokyo. Let's greenwash Kai. God. Sometimes, yeah. And this is why translation by Zenbird is really important, because some Google translation really doesn't hand over that nuance properly, that meaning properly. Shiokai. Greenwash, wash shiokai. Okay, so the actual translation for this is washing away the greenwash, is what I'm trying to say. New York City is suing 4 major oil companies as greenwash. Let's check Japanese advertisements based on this content. Now this is interesting. Okay, I missed this. I think I should want this. Facebook event. Okay, I'm going to come back and check this. This is interesting. That's why I say today is going to be a busy day, and Zenbird is not going to be able to attend every of this, which is in Japanese zanen. Too bad, can't join everything. Action in front, so they are going to be standing, probably a standing protest. Yeah. In coronavirus is still ongoing in Japan. It has calmed down, and more people are taking their third shots. I'm getting mine in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, hopefully that shadow of you leaves. Jira Power. Yes. Okay, this will be a protest in front of the J Power headquarters in Higashi Ginza at 1 p.m. Anyone in Tokyo, please consider joining. Well, in Tokyo, I bet there's a lot of things. For example, this one, another one. Stop listening to climate from Suginami. Okay. Suginami is the name, right? Sorry, this is something I'm out of contact with. At 12 p.m. Maybe I'll look at this. This is something interesting. There's no information on. Okay, there's no URL. I do not know. This will be offline events. I cannot join. Tokyo Online Climate Change Action Starter Pack. Now this is 8 p.m. This is one of the interesting thing is if you're wondering what you can do for climate change. I think Fridays for Future Japan cell is going to share with us what you can do. Okay. Mikata, Tokyo again. Mikata City Hall. Stop world climate crisis. We're working to spread renewable energy and prevent global warming from the region. Stop nuclear energy power plant. Go and stop the coal. Go to re-energy. What is this? Seems like there's a lot of greenwashing going on. More from Tokyo. This will be another offline one. Yeah. Street protest in front of the Kyoto station. Setagaya. Tokyo World Climate Action. Photo action in front of Tokyo by Tokyo Metropolitan Assembly members. Oh, this is interesting. Take a photo with placard on the sidewalk on the north side of the city council building. SNS posting action with that photo. Done it. I really want this to be open in a new tab. Oh, okay. Let's bring out translation again. Something about music. Climate Live Japan. So Climate Live Japan does their climate call, I would say, every year. Collect message videos about everyone's climate change and play them on Earth Day with music. That's interesting. Details will be announced on the 25th. Okay, everything to look at. Okay, not too sure. Kanagawa to Yokohama with 100% natural energy. So Yokohama is in Kagawa Prefecture, and Yokohama City is south of Tokyo. Photo action will be conducted in front of the coal power plant. We gather at 1 and move to what? Oh, okay, they already done this. Well, the translation is weird, but yeah, it's over already. Interesting. This is over. 25th, okay. Again, hold on. Right. Okay. Standing in front of Hon Atsugi station, we will lend it to those who cannot. We will lend placards to those who cannot prepare one. Standing action at 6:30. Kanagawa Oiso. Again, offline. Cool. Standing protest. 20 of standing protests going around the country. For a while, I was mistakenly confused. What? Okay, there's an update. So then another standing protest at Shizuoka. Update, okay. Izunokumi. Another one in Shizuoka Prefecture. Another standing protest. Awesome. Shizuoka. Photos that appeal to the climate crisis will be posted on the school website and school SNS. Right. It's started, initiated by the Hamamatsu Junior Senior High. And the standing protest, I guess? Yep, standing in front of Shizuoka City Hall. Later at 12:15. Yamanashi Online. Hold on, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one that I shared just now. I'm gonna talk about the 3 areas and what's gonna happen. What has been going on around in Japan. Climate March. Speech and march. Nice. Nagoya. Okay. So most of you know Nagoya, and Nagoya City is in Aichi Prefecture. And yeah, they have a march. Good to see. Well, I'm just gonna jump because Fukuoka. I used to be in Fukuoka. A great bunch of people, highly motivated, collect signatures. Wow, and declare. Fukuoka has not declared a climate emergency yet, but I get a feeling that the mayor is going to be receptive. The mayor is a young politician who knows what's going on around in his city, and I think it's going to be receptive to the youths. Let's hope they declare climate emergency too. Kyoto, what do they have in Kyoto? There's going to be a march. Awesome. Kyoto is also very interesting ideas they had. For example, the last time they had was a cycling strike. I thought that was interesting and really wanted to do it too. Take a photo action. Well, usually when they talk about when they use the word action in Japanese, usually some activity or something they're going to do. So it really just means take a photo in front instead of taking a photo action. Stand protests in Osaka. Communicate outwards with a video posting. Wonder what they have here. I think they're collecting videos also. See what happens. And they have a standing protest. Go Osaka. Hyogo Prefecture. Hyogo Prefecture is northwest of Osaka. This is interesting. What's this? Ren Shitake Sensei, living in Satoyama that shapes the world. Okay, so the guest is going to be talking about living in Satoyama. Now, Satoyama is a sustainable Japanese village, and we're talking about 100% sustainable. Talking about the materials, the house they live in, the water they consume, the toilets, the food, so on and so forth. They have circular systems, and in this case, they're going to be talking about shiitake mushrooms. Okay, it's interesting. It's going to be an offline. Whoa, interesting. Only members participate this time to prevent. Only members can participate this time because again, yeah. Kikumoriku. Okay, in Hyogo also, a standing protest in front of Kobe city. Kobe is in Hyogo Prefecture. Photographs and microphone appeals will be taken against the backdrop. Awesome. Hyogo World Climate Action taking photos again. Not too sure about this, but it's going to be on today. It's not updated. By the way, if you are interested in participating on any of this, visit the site, come to this, and look for these links so that you can find the latest information. They don't always update here. Photo action, okay. Kagawa is Shikoku. Somewhere near the middle of Japan, you see one island by itself. It contains 4 prefectures, and Kagawa is one of them. And I'm really glad Kagawa is doing something. Usually, when I went there, SDGs awareness, it's not strong. So there is a lot of opportunity, and I think that we can do a lot of things there. Okayama Online. Okayama Online, we have a project to encourage sharing. Web page introduction. Okayama is on the main Honshu, the main island. This is gonna be interesting. It's just north of Kagawa. Okay, Hiroshima. Stop the thermal power plants. LNG. Okay, it's not a thermal power plant. It's not geothermal. It's like LNG, natural gas power plants. Which is ridiculous. They shouldn't. Okay. Anyway, there'll be standing protest. Yamaguchi. Standing protest again. Yamaguchi. That's just northeast of Fukuoka. And then Fukuoka. Awesome. Oh, okay. There's also a standing protest. They initially do this. Yeah. And I really like the Fukuoka style. They are highly committed, like I said just now. And you feel comforted that you have such motivated youth looking after the region that they are in. And Okinawa, Fridays for Future Okinawa is a up and rising group of youths too, and they have been very active. Okay, so see that there's a lot of activity around Japan, but not all. For example, I mean Wakayama, so there's not a lot of action. I think the awareness is an issue too. I will look that deep into it, but there is something that you can do. This doesn't list everything. For example, the Fukuoka, the Okayama, Kagawa. So this map isn't updated yet, but there is a lot of things going on today, and if you have the time, why not participate in one of them? Even if you are not comfortable going to do offline, there's a few online events that you can participate in tonight. Some will require registration, so do look out for it. But if you just want to listen to something, 8 p.m. tonight Japan time, Insta Live. Look for Fridays for Future Japan, and we're gonna have what they call the Climate Action Starter Pack. What's that? They're gonna be announcing it tonight, so that'll be something to look forward to. And that's the end of our stream today. And we'll be coming back next week. Hopefully the Wi-Fi continues to hold well like this, and we'll see you soon. And have a good day. Definitely, this is gonna be a global march for climate again, and it's a highly needed one. And of course, not just in Japan, we're gonna be seeing a lot of action from around the world. So keep your eyes peeled keep our eyes open to the next 24 hours and see what interesting ideas youths around the world have in store for you, for us. And we'll keep fighting the climate change. And very often we think that there's nothing we can do, but there is a lot of things we can still do. Is it too late? Well, who knows if it's too late. Even if it's too late, doesn't mean we should stop acting. No, we will still continue the good fight. And probably that's the thought I want to leave you with. If you have eco-anxiety, you are feeling anxious, you're feeling worried, just remember there is something that we can still do. There is something we must continue to do. And I'll leave you here. Thank you, and see you next week.